We're going to cover tonight the most important aspect for a successful marketer, testing. Let's get right into the material. The headline that you want to look for is How to Master the Single Most Important Skill of a Successful Direct Marketer. Point number one, you cannot succeed as a direct marketer unless you learn how to, the first blank is, test. Two, there are 12 important elements, and this is what marketers from all over the world contact me and ask me, who have been marketing for a long time, professionals, you know, I'm not sure what to test, in what order, and in what sequence. Has that ever troubled any of you? That whole concept, that whole concept is crucially important. So there are 12 elements, and these are the 12 elements that you want to deal with. First, the teaser copy, what I covered earlier today. The headline in the letter. Sometimes the teaser and the headline are the same, sometimes they're different. The letter itself, the offer. I'm going to get into different offers and how that vary, how that can change dramatically the response. The bonus, changing a bonus, adding a bonus can make a tremendous difference in response, as much as 2 and 3 and 4 times the response. The price. I see too many direct marketers going out with an arbitrary price, never testing another price. The cancer book that I showed you earlier today, the price of the book for the last 4 years was $14.95. The client came to me and I said, it's too valuable to sell for $14.95. We're going to sell it at $29.97. And he said, I can't believe we can get, it's going to double the price of the product. But what we're going to do is deliver a hardcover book instead of a softcover book. And we're going to change the jacket, so the jacket is going to be a powerful marketing tool in itself, because we're also going to sell a few in the bookstores. He had never tested a price, ever. I know all of you test all your prices, right? Right. Most people in business do not test price enough. I suggest to you, you or I do not know what the price of any product should be. Only the marketplace can tell you what the price should be. So what you want to do is test the price. Critical. Sometimes a higher price produces more unit sales and more what? Profit. So you want to test price. Very important. Yes, let me take a question, but we may be better hold. But Don, I know you're dying for.
How often do you test the same item like price? Once, twice, 5 times?
What I do, for example, on a book is go out with 3 or 4 prices on the first go-round. And then I retest once it's 6, 7 months, a year, retest. Because I'm always trying to get the highest possible price. My products are so valuable, I can't find the price high enough for the product. So I want the marketplace to agree with me. And the only way I can get the marketplace to agree is actually let the marketplace tell me what the most profitable price point is. Now, those of you that are my subscribers know the best ending digit on the price is what? 7. Ah, that's fantastic. I see more and more people using 7. That's great. All my tests show, and all Wall Street, I refer to Wall Street Journal a lot because for many years they've been users of my mailing lists, and we have been users of their mailing lists, and I like them because unlike most major direct marketers, they're very test conscious and they test very intelligently. And one of the things they've learned in their tests is that the ending digit 7 always does better than any other ending digit. So I recommend to all of you that one of the price points you test, that every price point you test, try 7 at the end of it, And I suggest in most cases it's going to be higher, your response is going to be higher. You also want to test the guarantee. The guarantee. Guarantee is very important. The longer the guarantee, the more response, all other things being equal. A 90-day guarantee is better than a 30-day guarantee. A 180-day guarantee is better than a 90-day guarantee, and a 1-year guarantee is better than a 180-day guarantee, and a lifetime guarantee is the best of all. Don't go out, in my recommendation, without a guarantee. I like guaranteeing everything you sell. Stand behind it. You don't want anybody's money unless they're happy, do you? No. Okay, so put that in your guarantee. Don't equivocate. None of these mealy-mouthed guarantees. You know, well, if you prove that 17 sheriffs have said that it didn't work, then we'll give you your money back. No. If for any reason you're not deliriously happy that every word of what I've presented is true, return the product, and these are magic words, write them down, for a prompt and courteous refund. A prompt and courteous refund. And if anyone asks for their money back, give them a prompt and courteous refund. You can even embellish it further, no questions asked. People don't want hassles, and you don't want customers that are unhappy. So don't sell without a guarantee, and test the words in your guarantee and the length of your guarantee. Lift letters. Lift letter. You saw me refer to one earlier today, and in the next newsletter issue that I'm doing, the November issue, I'm going to show in the newsletter the various ways to present a lift letter. No one that I've seen in the materials that I receive in the various publications has effectively dealt with. Lift letters can be done, and if they're done well, lift response. Very important. I see all kinds of mistakes made, and I shared one earlier with you. The biggest mistake is it's from the same sender as the original letter. You have to have a different voice. It can be a customer testimonial. Makes an excellent lift letter. Excellent. It can, oh, you got some more. People that need, we've got some extra copies. Raise your hand. It's great. Maybe you can look at your neighbor and catch up. So I don't go over the same material. We're not very far into the process. I'll wait a second. Thank you, Bethany. Do you like this format for retaining your information, your notes? I was a big note taker in school because I found school so boring, and I liked all kinds of ways to take notes because I could really do the tests reasonably well by having the material all recorded, you know. Somebody raised your, oh, okay. Oh, you're raising your hand for the, oh, sorry. A few more hands up there. Okay, moving along here. The next element you need to test is your brochure. Testing your product offer with a brochure and without a brochure. I found through the years, some offers work better with a brochure, some offers, believe it or not, work better without a brochure. If your brochure is boring, it's better you don't have it. Boring brochures are terrible, and most brochures are really boring. You ever notice? Look at brochures, man. Feature-oriented, the logo's plastered all over the front of it. We've been in business since 1847. You know that? Doesn't help you. It hurts. A brochure has to have a strong headline on it, strong benefit-driven headline filled with passionate copy describing the benefits and features of your product, because the brochure helps you with credibility for your product. It can have some duplication. I noticed the health publisher that I did the package number 1 and the package number 2 now, he's saying, you know, there's a few paragraphs in the brochure that are the same as in the letter. I said, really? No kidding. Do you like the copy? He said, oh, it's fantastic. I said, I'm purposely putting the same copy. Not entirely, but some of the same elements, because duplication in that context is helpful. Now, brochures have to sell. You understand that people read the letters, and a lot of times they lose the letter. They give the brochure to a colleague, a spouse perhaps, and they say, geez, I'm thinking about getting this product. What do you think of it? The brochure's got to tell the complete story. So repeating some of the benefits is good and helpful. So use brochures, work on the brochures in the same way you work the copy concepts, filled with benefits and passion, filled with you-oriented messages. The next thing needs to be tested, the mailing list. Most direct marketers don't do near enough testing of mailing lists. For many years in my own company, I certainly did not do enough testing of mailing lists because I had it relatively easy. I wrote so many packages, so many space ads, a lot of them are in the book that you're getting, you know, with the package from the seminar, a 644-page book. The orders were pouring in so heavily from space ads and from direct mail that I was a little loose on the list selection side, I must confess. Only in the recent years I've gotten a lot more focused on the list side, because when I focus on the list side and spend time on the list analysis, see, the problem with lists, for those of you that are serious direct marketers, the list information that you get from the list brokers, it's mythology. It's mythology because they're presenting the list in its best light, which is nothing wrong with that, but very often some of the information that's being presented is not accurate. I do a lot more now. When somebody says, I've got a mailing list with X names on it, I'm interested in how the list was derived, what the sales letter that was used to gain the list was the product sold or products sold similar in price to the price point that I'm shooting for in my offer, and how recent are the buyers. These points are questions and points you must verify. And of course, when you're testing a list, you don't want to test any more than 5,000 of any one list. This is a number you use, sometimes 3,000, depending. There are arguments as far as you've got to test more on certain offers, because if you don't have a statistically validated list module, you can't really tell how far you're going to roll out until you have at least, there's a lot of theories, at least 30 orders and so on. I've used the 30 order theory quite successfully, that if I get at least 30 orders from a list segment, that gives me pretty good data for me to go out to another bite of that list. But be careful. Some lists, they'll give you the great hot names, the first 5,000, and the deadheads that shouldn't be on anybody's list. And the next 25,000, you can lose a lot of money. So you want to assume that what you're getting on list information is, to put it in any other way, exaggerated. One of the reasons I like space, there's less places you can get hurt in space. You know, in direct mail, there's 47 ways. I could do a seminar on 47 ways to get cheated as a direct mailer, because the incentive to be dishonest on the part of people that are not ethical is so great. See, if a printer is charging you for 100,000 pieces of mail but only prints 70,000, it's very profitable for the printer to do this. It's very profitable for the printer to charge you for 100,000, take the 70,000 to the post office. The postal clerk will sign a receipt for 100,000 because they don't count them. They're not motivated. And then your data that you're reading is inaccurate because you're getting false counts. So you must, what we have done in my company, just as an aside, but an important one, we audit when we're getting a mailing done, and most of our mailings in enterprise publishing before I sold the company were for a minimum of 250 to 500,000 pieces. Did you ever see 500,000 pieces of mail sitting there? I mean, it gives you heart failure, man, that you have to pay for all these. But when I'm willing to pay for 250,000, I don't want to have 200,000 and be 50,000 short. So we would send one of our people down to be real friends with the printer and watch them come off the machine to make sure, to help make sure that the process is being accurately done. When you start spending money, you've got to be careful. One of the things I like about space is there's only one instance in 20 years of direct marketing, or 21 years, that I've had a dishonest count. See, a magazine is audited circulation magazine. It's pretty hard. The only time one of the magazines that we were doing business with, we paid for a $30,000 ad, and the magazine went bankrupt before the ad ran, and it was only sent to about 1/10 of their circulation. But that's just a rarity. You got to be careful as a direct marketer. It doesn't always go the way. Now, goes without saying, if you find ethical and honest printers, treat them well. Every time I work with the printer, I am so thankful that somebody is in that business. It is a high capital investment, low profit business. Thank goodness for direct marketers that there are excellent printers, honest printers. Most of them are. But maybe there's 10 or 20% or 30% that you're not going to get accurate counts. So be careful, because a lot of money is involved. I've seen direct marketers with 250, 500,000 pieces, and today 50 or 500 or $600, $1,000 or $700, $1,000. You're talking $150, $200,000 in one mailing. Those of you serious mailers like Leslie and others, you know how quickly you can lose money if it's not handled in the proper way, or your catalog mailer. Regardless of the method of delivery of your copy, whether it's a catalog, some of you are catalog sellers. I don't have time to get into all of that because I'm focusing mostly on sales letter testing this evening. Okay. I said all of that. Oh, finally, I covered the order card, right? Okay, the order card is next. The order card needs to be tested the way that it's laid out. Most order cards are what? What are they? Boring, man. They don't sizzle. They're boring. It's like the person's ashamed. Well, here's my order card. You know, it's kind of schlocky looking. But please forgive me and order the product. It doesn't work like that. The order card has to be hot. It's got to be hot. You did your homework. That's good. How many of you did half of your homework? Did you call? Already? That's fantastic. I congratulate you. Let's give a hand to all of those people that did half their homework. Super. It's got to be hot. Spend time on your order card. And the next item, very important, I didn't believe it until it was proven to me in testing. Graphics can as much as double response to a successful offer, as much as double response. Remember that. Who's making all that noise?
Amway.
Amway. Okay. Amway. We gotta blow them out of the water. Okay. Let's do a yes.
Yes!
Yes! No, stand up and do one. Stand up and do one. Let's see if a direct marketing. Yes! Terrific. Don't stop. You like it? You like this? I love your spirit. I love your spirit.
Let's say, who are these guys?
Even Ted likes it. That's great. Who are these guys? Okay, graphics. When you work with a graphic designer, here is the question you must find out. Most graphic designers, with all due respect, are more focused on how things look aesthetically than the support of the sales message itself. My graphics designer in charge of my art department for many years, her name is Sandy DeCona. I still work with her. She's a freelance person. Some of you might be interested in working with her. She works freelance out of Wilmington, Delaware. When she came to me for a job, I'll never forget it, I was interviewing a lot of graphics people, and I asked her, what do you think see the role of copy and the role of graphics in a direct mail offer? Fair question?
Good question.
She said, the most important thing is copy, but the graphics can enhance the power of the copy. I said, can you start Monday or Tuesday? And she was with me ever since. I mean, I didn't have to, I don't like to use the word brainwash, I didn't have to motivate her, explain to her, show her the tests, because a lot of graphics people are more aesthetic than they are. Now, there's a graphics person in the audience who spoke at the last seminar, right here, who understands. And I've seen her work, and her work is excellent, and she works on the premise of supporting the power of copy. Find that kind of mentality when you're working with the graphics. Very, very important. Okay. 3. Number 3. Because, and the missing words are, accurate information is what you're seeking. The missing words are accurate information. The biggest secret is to test, and here is what people make a mistake, one major element at a time. One major element at a time. If you try testing too many variables, then you're polluting the validity and value of this data that you're buying. So if you're going to test price, test price. If you have a control, we call it control. Everybody know what a control is? Control is the piece that's working, that's pulling the sales, and it's making money for you. That's your control. You don't change it unless you get something to beat it. But what you want to do when you test price is against your control and control price, test other prices. When you're testing graphics, you're going to test graphics against your control graphics. You don't arbitrarily change anything. Even if it's ugly, don't change it. Even if you have we have a thing in mind, even if there's a misspelled word, you don't change. If it's working, you don't change it. I am exaggerating somewhat. If it's a misspelled word, we'll probably change it. But that's the only exception.
Well, if they're misspelled correctly.
If they're misspelled correctly, that's all right. Okay. Number 4, teaser on the envelope is the easiest to test. The thing you want to keep, I like testing teaser copy on envelopes because it's fast, it's low cost, and it can make a major difference. So I take a small segment of the mailing and I test a different envelope teaser. Now, for example, one of the teasers that I tested made almost a double response, same sales letter, same headline in the letter, different teaser copy. The first teaser copy is how to use turnaround business strategies to build your business. How to use turnaround strategies to build your business. The second teaser is how to get very, very rich turning around a business. What do you think worked better, A or B? Yeah, B worked better. B worked better. B worked better to the point it almost doubled response, everything else being the same. So, you want to test envelopes. I like things, test the easiest things first. Just change the envelope. Low cost. A new teaser, well, I looked at the statistics. A new teaser, and this is number 5, the word is teaser, can increase sales by 371%. That was the record that we set at Enterprise. More than 3 times response. But this is what, one that was dead versus one that worked in that particular case. Okay, 5 phrases to add. I want to share with you 5 phrases that you can add after your teaser copy that's going to help get the envelope open. Would you like to know what they are? Yes. Okay, 5 separate phrases that will really help you. I would recommend you jot these down and try them. The first is, see inside for details. The second, open it once and read immediately. Third, free gift inside. Okay, open it once and read immediately. You with me? Free gift inside. Free sample inside. You saw a variation of it a few moments ago that I showed you on the recent prostate. Free test inside.
That was the next one, free test.
The third is free gift.
Yeah.
The fourth is free sample.
Right.
The free test, I just threw that extra one, a bonus. It's a bonus. And the final one that I use a lot is an urgent message from Ted Nicholas. Or a urgent message from Brian Key that's from you. Obviously, you use your name. Particularly if you have an urgent message from Ron LeGrand. If you have an affinity with your list, the way Ron LeGrand does, the way a lot of you niche marketers do, an urgent message from you is likely to be read, isn't it? You have a relationship, rapport with your people already, so utilize that. Okay, number 7. If you make okay, I covered this briefly earlier today. The missing words are, if you make a promise, it's very important to deliver, or you lose what? Credibility. Number 8, headline on the letter. Number 8, the missing word is headline. The headline on the letter can be as simple as repeating the what? Teaser. That's the simplest way. But if I'm trying 3 or 4 teasers, I'll often use the same letter with other teaser copy. The role of the teaser copy, remember, is to what? Get the envelope open. It's not to match anything. It's to get the envelope open. But if you do your homework, your teaser copy is so powerful, isn't it? Isn't it powerful? Is it? It's powerful, so if it's powerful, you can repeat it. Repeat it on your headline is one of the best ways.
You mentioned earlier that about 5,000 is what you recommend for a test of the mailing list. Is that the same number you would use for the other elements?
The question is, I mentioned the number 5,000 for the mailing list. Is that the same number that I would use for the other elements? The short answer would be yes, 3,000 to 5,000. But there are exceptions to that. I very often will try, in the past and today, 1,000. If I want to get an indication, I know it's not, I know I can't go to the bank for the rest of my life with the data that I have from 1,000. But I get an indication. If I get 0 orders, it gives me an indication that that the idea that I have about changing the world may not be on target. But if I get 100 orders, it gives me the idea that I have something really hot. Right? Wouldn't it give you that idea? And it's a cheap test. It can. The question is, can your message be on the outside? Refer to the lift letter. Who's from Mark Spitz? There was a gentleman I was talking with who has a wonderful sounding product. I haven't seen the details of it yet, with an endorsement from Mark Spitz, the former great Olympian. Yes, for example, you have that kind of an endorsement. You can say, see inside for an urgent message from Mark Spitz. Would that get your attention or not? Especially if he had a bikini on with his Olympic outfit. You're right. It'll get your attention. Yes, the answer is yes to that. Okay. Testing one sales letter, number 9, testing one sales letter against another is clearly a valid test. One sales letter against another clearly is one of the tests you want to do. It's a very important one because without question, a strong sales letter that's powerful, passionate versus a boring one is going to pull tremendously higher response. So you want to constantly be looking for a better way to frame your offer. I mentioned to you, I've written over 100 ads for my book on forming a corporation. That book has 32,000 words in it, and I've written, I figured it out one day, 140,000 words of copy that I've used. 140,000 words, much more copy than the book, isn't it? But what pays much more to spend your time on? Copy. It's very important. And there's a lot of ways to sell the same product, isn't there? A lot of ways if you're isolating the obvious what? Obvious benefits and looking for the hidden what? Hidden benefits. Finding the obvious and hidden benefits is the key to it all. Okay. Where are we? 10. This is where I'm going to touch on a couple of concepts in the offer. Assuming the copy is strong, a single factor which can make a difference in results is the offer. For example, and you can write this down, get 2 for the price of 1 works better than 40% off or 50% off. Get 2 for the price of 1. You're reframing and restating the offer in a different way. That makes a huge difference in response with that kind of offer. Try different ways of presenting your offer. Buy 2, get 1 free. Buy 1, get 1 free. Buy 1, get the next one for 1 penny. So you're basically getting 2 for the price of 1. So you try different ways creative ways of presenting your offer. The biggest, well, you heard me before comment about the balance between copy, offer, and list. It's got to be in balance, as with most things in life. But the variation in the copy of the way the offer is framed is critical in the dramatic presentation of the offer and an element that I just want to touch on because I could spend a whole seminar on this alone. The compelling reason to buy the offer when? Now. That person's reading page 15 of your letter, man. You don't want to lose that prospect now, do you? That prospect is passionate. They're in heat for the product. Ask them for the order. Ask them for the order explicitly. It would be a good idea for you to sit right down now and take out your Mont Blanc pen and write your name and address on the order form to assure that you're going to get delivery. In other words, be explicit on your directions. A lot of my ads say, take any size piece of paper and write corporation, book, and bonus. Any size piece of paper. We'll take it. Any size piece of paper. So people feel comfortable. They can sign anything. Write clearly and legibly. Oh, God, make sure it's right, you know. And enclose your check for $19.97 plus $3 shipping and handling. And your product will be shipped within 24 hours of receipt. We ship the book at our risk, not yours. If for any reason you're not delighted with your purchase, you can return it for a prompt and courteous refund. Remember? A prompt and courteous refund. No questions asked. You don't want the customer, do you? You don't want the customer's money. Does anybody want the customer's money and run to Brazil with the money without delivering the product that you promised? Do you want to live with yourself on that kind of a basis? I don't think so. I don't think anybody in this group is of that mentality. Fortunately, the marketplace is pretty clean these days. I don't see too many people. That mentality doesn't work because the reputation is destroyed pretty fast. The people that I've met here, I see want to build long-range successes. Even a short-range success these days with government agencies and scrutiny being what it is, you've got to be real careful to deliver what you promise. You get in trouble. One of the seminars recently, maybe it was at the last one, someone asked me about truth in advertising and all. I've never had a problem. I've never been called by anybody. For myself, for clients, I recognize there's technical violations someone can innocently get involved with and so on, but I've never had a problem. I think if you can be compelling and powerful and still be truthful. Because people can see through the falsehoods. You've gotten mail, haven't you? And you say, this is what? Bull? I mean, baloney, right? You just know that it's lies. Mark Skousen, Gary Bensavenga, one of my subscribers who writes a lot of good copy, he did a great package. The headline was Lies, Lies, Lies. You ever get it for forecasts and strategies? Lies, lies, lies. He's saying the economists and the government are lying to you. And you know what? It's true. Okay. So, the most underused, number 11, the most underused technique that can make a huge difference in sales, huge sales difference, is by offering free bonuses. Free bonuses with one caveat. The bonuses have to be so good that a person would want to buy the bonus if you charge for it. In other words, when I first started in business, this I think illustrates it, I came up with a brilliant idea. I took a failed product and I said, gee, I've got a whole warehouse full of this product. I'm going to use it as a bonus. And I found out one important lesson. If you can't sell it, you can't give it away. You can't give it away. If you get nothing other than this from this seminar, if you can't sell it, you can't give it away. It's got to be so compelling that people want it and will pay for it. And when they get that free, that is obviously going to turn you on. Wouldn't it turn you on? If you were going in the direct marketing business right now and you had no product and no money, how would you start? And what I would do is take an existing product that's already out there, not create a new one, and figure out a way to market it on a direct basis and do a test for as little as $600. Because I'd test only 1,000 in the first go-round. And I would test a product that already has a proven track record of some sort. Ideally, the ideal situation is you find a product that's poorly marketed but it's hot. People want it, but it's been poorly marketed. It's sold in spite of itself. You can really create a huge bonanza of a success. And a lot of products are poorly marketed. A lot of products are poorly marketed. Those kind of products make excellent bonuses. So constantly look for bonuses. I look for bonuses. I shared with you how I create bonuses for myself and clients from taking special reports, retitling them. Because see, that client that I did the special, with all due respect, his books are great. The titles were like Doctor's Guide to headlines, yeah. Had nothing to do with the product or the magic answer. Miraculous discoveries in medicine. It doesn't, it's hard to believe. It doesn't give enough of a benefit. How to have a better sex life really turns people on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and a lot of people interested in health want to improve that aspect of their life. So there's information is there. In other words, the information delivers on its promise. Because a lot of times exercise and nutrition are very much related to your all areas of your life. So Look for bonuses. Spend time on bonuses. I'm going to also share with you some bonuses. I'm going to jump down to number 13. Some good bonuses that work well in direct mail are special reports, books, audio tapes, videotapes. So far, you can see they're all information related. Here we come to a bunch of them that are not information related that are very powerful. Calculators, very powerful. Pocket knives, Swiss knives, for example, very strong bonuses, high perceived value. Pens, writing instruments, pens and pencil sets. Mugs, believe it or not. One of my friends and clients has a computer company, computer software. He sells high-ticket $2,000, $3,000 deals. A beer mug-looking thing that cost like 79 cents increased response enormously to one of his offers. These are sophisticated computer nerd-type engineering mentalities, you know? You wouldn't think a beer mug would turn these people on. It really did. I say computer, that's what he calls himself. He's a great guy. And his name is Jeff Groves. He's a great guy, and he calls himself, so I feel free to call him a computer nerd and his customer's computer nerd, because he calls himself a computer nerd that learned how to market. And he used, with the use of a beer mug, a $3,000 package for a 79-cent beer mug. Incredible, isn't it? But it hyped increased response. T-shirts. And some offers tremendously important, particularly health-related offers, for example. Flashlights, hats, business cards. Some offers business cards. Okay. Did I jumped over to 13. Did I skip 12? Yes. 12 is, I covered it. Remember, the free bonuses must be highly scalable. Free bonuses, the missing words. If you can't sell it, you can't give it away. Remember, I stated that before. If you can't sell it, you can't give it away successfully. Number 14, the only objective way, I covered this briefly too, is to set price, and the missing words are set price, is to let the marketplace tell you. Number 15, all tests show products sell more profitably when price has an ending digit in number 7. Number 16, a money-back guarantee, the missing words, money-back guarantee, always improves response. Number 17, the longer the guarantee, the lesser the returns. Missing words are longer, guarantee, and lesser. 18, sign the letter. You would be amazed, and you're looking at your mail. I know none of you have ever done this, but you would be amazed as to how many direct mail letters go out unsigned. Unsigned. It's a cardinal sin. Never send the letter out unsigned. And sign with a felt-tip pen like this. A felt-tip pen. Sign it in black, but reproduce it in what color by the printer? Processed blue. Always. Always. You'll notice the sample of the newsletter in your package, my newsletter, is signed by me in processed blue. Question?
Getting back to 17, was the loan guarantee improved response?
Yes, were you here earlier?
No.
Yes. I covered this point earlier.
Repeat the question. Repeat the question.
The question is, does a longer guarantee build response? And the question is, absolutely. The longer the guarantee, the greater the response, all things being, or at least I've never seen it to fail on any test. I covered that point in some detail before. Okay. Number 19, your lift letter, I'm purposely repeating some of these points are so important. Your lift letter, missing words or lift letter, should come from and be signed by someone other than the signer of the letter. Either present a new benefit or endorse a strong benefit. The missing words in both cases are benefit. You want to come up with a different reason, a new benefit. See, one of the ways to present the lift letter is, if you are still undecided. Please do not read unless if you are still, please read this only if you are still undecided, excuse me. Please read this only if you are still undecided. Of course, most people will read it anyway, won't they? Strike curiosity. And you want to have in there a benefit that you didn't cover in the main body of the letter, an endorsement from a customer, some new, not only presented as a new benefit, but in a different tone, coming from another person, or as though it's coming from another person. Ideally, it's an actual letter from a customer. There's nothing like the honesty and truth. You can't ever write a testimonial as good as your customer can write it for you, because they're talking from their own passion, their own experience. And I like testimonial lift letters. But you can also write the letter. Now, what I often do, what I did for the health client, I found in the book. Doctors love the book so much, you got a lot of unsolicited letters, and a couple of them were in the book. So I took one of the best one, and I made a lift letter out of it. He had the material. He never used a lift letter before in any of his offers. It's just been tremendous for response. Okay. Number 20, always include PS, missing word is PS, which can double response. Christian Godfrey, one of my seminar attendees at the $7,500 seminar in Switzerland, said to me, you know, the first 5 years, one of the most successful direct marketing men in the world, uses a lot of copy concepts that I've shared with him. He said, you know, I must confess, the first 5 years I was in business, I never used a PS. Never. I started using PS as the first one that I did, doubled the response to the control. Just the PS. Why is the PS so important? The PS is the second most read part of any letter. The first is the headline. The second is the PS. Never send a letter out without a PS, ever, but don't make the PS boring. And the safest PS you can write is to restate the offer compellingly. For example, I'll show you the PS in the cancer book. That is the best way, I think, to illustrate the point for you. I love the chance to use this. It turns me on. Okay, here's the PS. I'll read it. Some of you that can't read it. How to fight cancer and win will make a huge difference in the quality of your life. You risk nothing. The book is not the original price of $50, but only $29.97, and comes with a 1-year money-back guarantee. And it comes with up to 5 free bonus reports, which you may keep regardless. Order at once. Does that knock your socks off or not? All you've got to do is read the PS. Don't you? I mean, it just summarizes the whole offer. Make your PSs in the recent newsletter that's going out. It's at the printers right now. It's going out this week. I show 7 different PS styles. To my knowledge, never, what? Leave it on. All right. You want to write it down? Okay. See, these people are writing down the copy. Isn't that good?
What about PSS?
The second PS is fine. The third S is PS. Don't be bashful about PS, PSS, and PSS. Go with it. Usually I have just 1, sometimes 2. It depends on what really I'm doing, what my strategy is, what bonuses I'm offering. If I want to remind someone of a tremendous, almost incredibly difficult to believe concept, I might have a 2, PS and PSS. I have had 3 and 4. but usually 1 or 2. Don't be bashful about it. Use PSs. The safest is, remember, the safest is what? Restate the offer. That's the safest one. Second, I'm not going to share all 7. Another one is a testimonial from a customer. Here's the easy way to put down a testimonial. Jim McMahon from Port Washington, Pennsylvania writes, "This product changed my life and increased my income by $10,000 the first month I received the product." That's in your PS. It's additional fuel. Don't you like that? When you see that in the PS, something live like that. Number 21. A brochure can increase response by 300%. A brochure. It can also not increase response. So you want to test it. 22. A brochure should be printed on, the missing words are glossy stock, a different paper stock than the letter, with at least 2 color inks. 2 color inks. On the brochure, number 23 refers, always repeat offer and your name and address. Remember I showed you the brochure for the cancer book, repeating the price, how the person can get it, and the name and address, toll-free, the toll-free and fax number of in this case, the publisher. Number 24, missing words are, your order card is more effective, order card on the missing words, if it's printed on one side only, and different stock paper than the rest of the mailing. Now, some of you that are really astute are going to say, on the cancer book, it's printed on both sides. And the reason it's printed on both sides is I had a big debate with my graphics designer, my former art department, and the publisher, because I wanted to make the order card larger with the guarantee on the left with the tear out, and they wanted to put it on the back because of the size of the mailing and because I have 2. It's fairly complicated. There are 2 windows in this particular envelope. And in this case, we varied it and put 2 testimonials on the back as well as the guarantee. So you can break the rules, but you got to know what they are. Now, I'm urging the client on the next to test another order card printed on one side, because the data is almost always indicates you do better off when there's nothing on the back of the order card. For whatever reason, I'm not sure.
Do you have actually use a card that you can mail by itself with a sheet of paper going with the envelope?
I'm sorry, would you speak a little louder?
Or your order card, is it a card like a postcard or is it a sheet of paper and an envelope?
In this particular case, I like the order card.
Please repeat the question.
Okay, the question is the order card printed on a paper stock or on a card stock? I personally, in this particular case, it's printed on a paper stock. Another thing I'm urging this particular client to test is printing the order card on certificate paper. See, I like the order card to look like a very important document that immediately requires attention. But you're always fighting with weight and cost versus the practicality. So this is an element we're going to test. In most of my offers, I use a lot of certificate borders, certificate paper, card stock, or heavier paper than the letter.
What about bright colored cards?
What about bright colored cards? The ideal situation is, and it's a good question, the use of color, is to have every element in your mailing as different as possible. See, the graphic designer, and, well, if it's yourself, you want a kind of an aesthetic look, a family look of things, and that's not the way to go. You want your order card to look separate from your letter, the lift letter to look separate from the main letter. So I like, for example, using a white stock on the letter in most cases, white or cream. yellow or a pale yellow lift letter, powder blue order card, or a light green order card. I like a separate, distinct elements in the mailing. My tests show that the separateness is the best puller of all the combinations. When it's all integrated, it looks like kind of a fancy art department, advertising agency, kind of a slick-looking thing. You see, you want to make your mailing look good, powerful, personal, a combination of aspects. You don't want it to look slick, glossy. So some of the devices that I talk about will tend to have that effect. You obviously, the person, if they're reading the letter, will see that it's not personalized to them in most cases. When we're doing huge mailings, they're not personalized. But the personal look and feel is what I'm striving for. As close as you can make your sales letters look like a letter from Mother is the direction you want to go. If you could make every one of the letters you ever send out look like it's a letter from the parent of the recipient of the letter, it'll get read. So every time you deviate from that in any way, you're denying or destroying the possibility of what you could have for readership. Now, with direct mail, we have to make compromises because you have cost factors. Okay, in most cases, if you're selling $1 million Learjet, you can go everyone personalized, everyone first class, beautiful bond papers, just like it's a letter, and it is a letter from an important person to another important person. Most of us are not selling Learjets on a daily basis. I only sell them occasionally. Most of us are selling products on a daily basis that are lower in cost, even if they're $2,000 and $3,000 tape sets and the like. Okay, moving ahead here. Question?
Thank you. At the beginning, you talked about testing. Should we test the delivery system, postage paid versus first class?
The question is, should we test the delivery system first class versus postage paid? You mean third class versus first class?
Bulk rate 16.1.
Bulk rate versus first class. The short answer is yes. That I like to see one of the tests, providing it's less than an ounce. See, the situation for most direct marketers is that if you're dealing with 8 pages or less of material, you can go first class for 29 cents. If you're dealing with more than 8 pages of copy, for many offers, the economics change dramatically when you double the postage. So third class, the argument for third class is very strong. If you have a lot of elements and you have at least an 8-page letter. If your offer is high-priced enough, you can afford to mail, and I would definitely test first class. All things being equal, I like first class best because you get better delivery faster. You get a faster read. There's less of a chance for the postal employees to throw the mail in the dumpster, which they often do. Not every day, but a lot of instances, a lot of evidence shows that mail is thrown out. So you have less of a chance for that to happen with first class mail. So I like the first class. So ideally, if I have an 8-page letter and an order card, no brochure, no lift letter, I'm going to definitely test in one of my panels first class versus third class. If you ask me, well, the next question might be, what is your experience?
What is your experience?
Thank you. That's a brilliant question. And the answer to that is there is no clear definitive answer. Sometimes the first class outpulls the third class, and sometimes the first class outpulls the third class and justifies its cost, and sometimes it doesn't. Again, you have to test that element. So it's something to put in your test mixture.
Along the same line, labels versus printed envelope.
Labels versus printed envelope. The best envelope you can have is impact printed, courier type, right on the envelope that looks like a secretary or you typed it. Everything else is a compromise. Handwritten is good too. Handwritten is good too. Neatly handwritten. And if you can't do it, there are a lot of companies that can. Handwrite each letter. The worst is the label. It looks like what? And it's treated that way by many people. Yes, sir.
Have you ever tested laser copy with great big letters so their name is very large on the envelope?
We've tested variations. Every time you go outside, my experience is every time you go outside the courier type look, a personal letter, someone is not going to set and type and do this great big thing. That's like an ad agency cutesy little deal. It's better to make it look like a personal letter typed by a secretary. Don't waste your time with all that kind of stuff. Yes, sir.
Labels versus window.
We can't hear the questions in the back. If you want to have questions, you got to bring them up so we can hear them in the back.
You got to speak with all your passion. But the label versus window, I know it's hard sometimes when you're sitting down. It's one of the advantages of standing. But the question is label versus window. The window concept, properly done, is better than label. It's better than label. Person wants to know what's in the envelope that has my name on it. There's a natural feeling. Maybe could it be a check? 25. Repeat the offer, main benefit, price, name and address on the order card. Did you ever think a mailer ever went out with an order card without their name and address on it? You ever think it happens? Yes. And guess what? You get no orders. You get nothing. Nothing in the mail, for sure. 25 is, the missing words are offer, main benefit, price, name, and address on the order card. Make sure you have those elements on the order card. Okay, good graphics. 26, graphics is the missing word, can produce a huge response, you heard me, as much as 200%. 27, turn the page if you would. Words, missing word, it won't surprise you, I hope, are the most important part. The copy, the words, are the most important part of your mailing. Number 28, the role of graphics, the missing word is graphics, is to support and embellish the power of the copy. That's the role, the only role. 29, you have to continually test mailing lists. No surprise. Mailing lists, critical. Number 30, this is very important. The most important elements in a mailing list are recency. How old are the names on that mailing list? The best are so-called hotline names, which are from 30 to 90 days old, usually 90 days, within the last 90-day period. The second, the people are buyers, not inquirers. You don't want people that are from somebody else's mailing list that have merely inquired but haven't spent any money. The third, they've bought a similar product or category of product. If you're selling a $300 tape set, you darn sure want people that have spent around $300 for information in tape form. You want to have, number 5, honest data that you verify as best you can. The honest data, you want to get samples, as I mentioned before, of the mailing used by the developer of the mailing list. What mailings have gone out to that list? And finally, the biggest, or one of the biggest considerations is the size of the universe. In other words, if you have 2 mailing lists, one is 25,000 total universe, one is 250,000 total universe, all other things are equal, which one is better? Obviously the larger, because you have a larger rollout potential, don't you? Now remember, you don't test 5,000 and then go to 250,000. unless you're a big gambler. You know, I advocate test small, roll out big, but you want to do your test in 3 stages. Test 5,000, then 20 or 25,000, then 100,000, and then go for the whole thing, because now you have enough data to do it. Okay. I want to share with you, are you interested in the biggest mistakes in mailings? I can't hear you. Okay. These are the biggest mistakes in mailings. The first, no headline. No headline. It's a cardinal sin. We're thinking of having copywriters purgatory, where you have to spend time in some sort of an institution when you violate some of these principles once you learn them. And the thing that can get you a long sentence is to have a letter go out without a headline. You're wasting the most important part of the letter. Don't send letters out without headlines. No PS. Some of these are repetitive but important. Logo at the top of the letter. No guarantee or wishy-washy or wishy-washy. No price testing. Too large a test. Too large a test. A gentleman shared, I won't mention names, shared in confidence, but I'll just mention the principle because we all have done it. He took an untested mail piece, mailed it to 42,000 people, and printed 100,000 pieces before he found out the whole thing was a dud. Is that a good idea? No, I don't recommend it. Test in a smaller way before you roll out in a bigger way, unless you have a lot of dollars that you want to gamble. I'm not personally a gambler. I don't like gambling. I like testing and getting information. I don't object if other people want to gamble. I've done, some pretty crazy things. In my former company, we had what we called the Hall of Shame, all the things that we did wrong. One of them we did a 250,000 mailing without testing. So I know I've been down the road because we had an offer and a product that we felt could not miss. And guess what? It missed. It missed. I'm glad I didn't do it the first year I started. Okay. Can we hold just... Okay, we got 10 minutes. Let me quickly finish, and then I'll get to as many questions as I can. The next point, impolite copy. These copywriters that have the audacity to write copy, whether they're the entrepreneur or the outside copywriter, that is just not respectful of the reader, you're going to lose the reader and not have the sales. And I think it's an insult to the intelligence of the people, because people are very intelligent. So copy that's just impolite, takes too much for granted, opens up with something like, we've examined the list that you're on, and we know that your income is at least $100,000 a year. I mean, what kind of nonsense is this, that someone is penetrating your privacy to the point where they're suggesting they know what your income is? It's just impolite. Anything you would not do on a one-to-one basis, don't do in your copy. It's a good rule to follow. No one in the room is going to go up to a complete stranger and suggest to them what their income is. You don't do that in copy either. No close. Testing too many variables. I've covered all these points, but I want you to have a summary so you can use it as a checklist. Boring headlines or copy. Copy that's not believable. How to make $10,000 next week by buying this 1995 book. Just not believable, even if it's true. Wimpy signature. Signature that looks like it's from a 97-year-old uncertain person with a hat in her hand that just, wrote like, don't sign your letters with a wimpy signature. Practice your signature so that you have a strong, bold signature. If you don't have a bold signature, hire somebody that has a strong signature. have a strong signature on your letters. Very important. Black signature, black signature, red signature, green signature, brown signature, any other color but processed blue. No signature. Too many typefaces. Too many typefaces in the same letter. Times Roman, Courier, and 4 or 5 other typefaces. Beginners in direct marketing do this. It looks schlocky. It loses credibility, believability. It's terrible. No more than 2 typefaces. Too much underlining. Too much underlining. The writer or the publisher or the author of the letter is so impressed with their own copy that they want to underline virtually every line in the copy. You lose the power of the underlining. I like to see no more than 15 words maximum on a page of typewritten copy in a letter underlined. And finally, no free bonuses. Those are the mistakes. That's the way to test. And by using that process and using those principles, you will increase your success ratio by a tremendous multiple. Now, I want to try to get to as many questions as I can before we break. We have 10 minutes or so. Raise your hand and yell as loud as you can, and I'll repeat it. We don't have a mic to pass around, huh? Yeah, we do. Okay, we won't. All right. Question.
Post office, to speed up the mailing, requires no periods, commas, all caps on the label. I think I know the answer to the question, but maybe let's respond.
The post office requirements, we've been able to live with them and haven't seen any. The question is there less response with the postal requirements regarding how the address has to be put together? We've seen no difference in following the rules. I haven't done a test. I haven't tried to violate the rules. In other words, doing a test with what the rules are. We try to live with the rules, haven't had a problem. Yes, sir.
Do you use bold and italic in your copy as well as underline?
Good question. Do we use bold and italic in the copy as well as underlining? And the answer is yes. I like mixing the elements of italics for emphasis. Italics can often be good for testimonials. Be careful, however, if it's a long testimonial, italic copy is harder to read. Mike Roth.
I have a question about testing the headlines. Somebody asked me, as I go through the example of, I do a little like exercise where which headline pulled best exercise. And the question is, a lot of people think one outpulls the other. How do you reduce the risk when you're testing an ad, when you're testing one headline versus another, and you think one's going to fall, but it doesn't? Do you have a way in which, other than your gut instinct,
To test? If I understand it, Mike's asking the question, if you have a headline on a letter or space ad or both?
either or?
Okay. When I have 2 headlines that I love, that I want to test, what I do is simply, if it's a mailing, I run half of one list segment with one headline and half with another with a different code on the order card so I can tell which of the 2 outpulled. If I'm running a space ad and I'm running a full page ad, I work with a magazine where I can do an A-B split. Does everybody know what an A-B split is? Where every other issue, does anybody not know what an A-B split is? Okay. An A-B split is where every other issue of the magazine has one headline versus every other issue having the other headline. So you conclusively know which of the 2 ads, headline A, headline B, are pulling. Does that answer your question, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
If you have a very small university, targeted university, about 400 would be best.
If I have 400 people, my mentality is going to be like this. I have 400 people. I can mail to those people for really first-class stuff for about $700, $1,000. So I'm going to be able to mail to those 400 people for $280. It's a low cost. I'm going to really, first of all, I'm going to do a lot of mailing, and I'm going to test a lot of things, but I'm going to not necessarily, yes, I'm going to test half the list with one headline, half with the other, but I'm going to do the whole thing because there's only 400. When you only have a small one, it's kind of easy because you can afford to do a lot more. It's when you have like lists develop to the size where in my enterprise operation we have 500,000 people on the list. You know, so you really have to determine what you're going to do because you can go broke with too many mailings that are going to bomb on a list of that size. Yes, sir.
So you wouldn't hesitate to send test A and test B to the same small 400-person list, is that correct?
I wouldn't hesitate. The question is, would I hesitate to send test A and test B to the same 400? What I would do is send 200 test A, 200 test B.
My next question. On the order form or order coupon or whatever, is it necessary to have your name and address in every place if you include an envelope that contains, a self-addressed envelope that contains your mail back address?
The question is it necessary to have on the order card the name and address of you, the sender of the mailing, if you have it on the outside of the envelope? The answer is always, always, always have the name and address on the order card. Assume they're going to lose the envelope. Assume the printer is not going to put it in. Assume that's going to be screwed up in some way, because it is in many cases. And you want to have the order card, the most important part of your close, with your name and address and that information on it. By all means, have it. Yes, a couple more questions, and I've got to wind up here. Okay, the question is, what is my favorite way of testing headlines before actually putting them into live work in a space ad or in a direct mail letter? He mentions classified ads. My favorite way of testing headlines is either on an envelope or in a full-page ad. Classified ads, more people have gone broke in classified ads than any other form of advertising because it looks easy to do. The reality is, classified ads, that's how I started my company. It can be done and can be done very successfully, but here's the problem with classified ads. You have less copy than you have in any other format. So that copy has to be so strong, so powerful, so good that it would not be the first thing that I would do. Furthermore, most of your offers are not going to work in classified ads because classified ads are better for certain segmented list groups such as real estate, cars, things that people logically look to classified ads for. People are not looking to classified ads generally for information on, for example, self-publishing. They're not looking for classified ads. So my favorite is the long-form format in a sales letter or in a space ad.
What do you think? What do you think? We keep them all night? You want to keep them all night? Let's hear it. Should we keep them all night? How about it's 24 hours? Huh? Is 24 hours enough? What do you think? 24 hours enough? What do you think? How was that talk? Was that great or what? Let's hear it.